is our genetic code. And then proteins are the building blocks of either viruses, bacteria, humans. All our cells contain or made up of proteins. And so that mRNA is kind of a building block that your body can recognize to build immunity to the virus. But it is not the virus. So because the COVID vaccine is an mRNA vaccine, which is not a live virus, you cannot get sick with COVID from the vaccine.
Of course, taking the vaccine is not required and is strictly a personal decision. But to truly end this pandemic, herd immunity will have to be achieved.
Herd immunity, it's just a term that applies to when there's so much of the people that have been exposed to the disease or had the disease or had a vaccine, that so many people are immune that if they come in contact with someone that has COVID, then they're not going to get it. So they're not going to be able to spread it.
I've heard a statistic that if we can get around 60% of people either vaccinated or having had developed natural immunity through getting the virus, we can kind of get somewhat of a herd immunity. And there's been predictions that it could happen as early as this summer.
Everyone is getting it. Everyone should get it, because if we don't get it somewhere up around 78% vaccinated, we're definitely not going to have herd immunity.
It is very effective. So like we were talking about earlier, 95% effective. That's incredible. Most vaccines actually are not that effective. But also, they really studied it, and we really know that they're very safe. So if you have an opportunity to get the vaccine, definitely get it. I know I've had mine, and it just gives me so much of peace of mind that I'm not going to get COVID, and then also I'm not going to spread it to someone I love.
While vaccination appointments on campus are full as of Wednesday, March 24th, links to other locations and providers are listed on the university's website. Emma Harrington, Newswatch Ole Miss.
Thank you, Emma. The Oxford Board of Aldermen voted yesterday to head in a new direction towards the city's animal shelter. They decided to hire Sarah Pizzano of Team Shelter USA for shelter consulting services. Oxford Mayor Robin Tannehill says they have learned a lot over the past 2 weeks and are excited about the new opportunity to reinvent the shelter. She also stated the city is working to form an alliance with groups that place animals in foster care. The Lafayette County will pay $25,000 to Dr. Pizzano and Team Shelter USA as part of the contract, which includes an initial formal assessment and 6-month evaluation and advisement period. On May 15, Oxford's Office Depot will be one of 90 Office Depot stores to close this year. The chain had already started its going out of business sales of everything being 30% off. Office Depot has been regularly closing stores in the past few months. The company announced its plan in May to close an unspecified number of stores in 2023. Finally, Vaught-Hemingway Stadium will be accepting flex dollars at the concession stand for the football season next fall. This after sophomore computer science major Robert Hughes expressed his disappointment of not being able to use flex dollars at a football game his freshman year. Hughes organized a meeting with Ole Miss Athletics Director Keith Carter to discuss his idea after becoming the vice chair of the Athletic Committee. Carter was enthusiastic about his idea and passed it on to the contract office. Vice President of Finance and Administration Harry Sparks approved the idea before retiring in December. We have updates on sports going into the weekend, but first, the weather, right after these messages.
Welcome back to Stormwatch. I'm Alexandra Watts, and here are your current temperatures. As we take a look, South Haven and Oxford, both 74 degrees. Holly Springs and Corinth, 73, and then Tupelo, 75. And then looking at our current temperature here in Oxford, we have 74 degrees, partly cloudy skies, winds coming in from the southwest, 14 miles per hour. And then looking at tonight's temperature, we have a high of 62, some clear skies, which is great. Winds coming in from the west, 12 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow's temperature, a high of 64, partly cloudy skies, winds coming in from the northeast, 2 miles per hour. And then taking a look for our 5-day forecast, as for Thursday, we have a high of 59, a low of 45, cloudy skies. Friday, a high of 73, 54 with the low, and some sunny skies in there, which is great. And then as we look for Saturday, a high of 75 and a low of 58, some thunderstorms coming back in. And then Sunday, 63 of the high, rain coming in and a low of 43. And then for Monday, a high of 64 and a low of 47, rain coming back in through next week. And then for your weekend headlines, cloudy tomorrow throughout the day, a high chance of rain, and then we're expecting some thunderstorms again for Saturday and Sunday.
The Ole Miss baseball and softball teams were able to hold on in their midweek contest, and Paz Rebel joined recent players at the Ole Miss Pro Day this afternoon. Grace Walsh has the latest coming up in sports.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
The number 3 Ole Miss baseball team defeated Central Arkansas 5-2 Tuesday night. Star players Jacob Gonzalez, Tim Elko, and Hayden Dunhurst accounted for the trio of homers, with the latter two going back-to-back in the 4th inning. The Bears try to keep up with the Rebs by putting runners on base, but all to no avail as Millett struck out in the side. The 4th inning bombs had the Rebs up 4-1. Kevin Graham's RBI single in the 5th put them up 5-1 and out of reach. Today's game against Alabama has been postponed due to bad weather in Tuscaloosa, so the Rebs will play a doubleheader tomorrow, starting at 2, with the second game 45 minutes after the end of the first. Heading over to the softball field, currently standing at 19-10, Ole Miss jumped ahead early and never looked back on Sunday, defeating 18-11 Southern Miss in a midweek tussle, 4-1. This victory marked the 12th straight in the Rebs' perfect home record on the season and set the Ole Miss record for consecutive home wins within a single season. Ole Miss gets to enjoy the comforts of home again this weekend with a 3-game series against number 17 Georgia in Oxford. Friday and Sunday's games will be aired on SEC Network Plus, while Saturday's affair will be broadcasted nationally on the SEC Network. Serving it over to the tennis court, the men's tennis team can boast the number 1 ranked duo in the nation. Finn Reynolds and Tim Sandcolin can add another milestone to their historical careers, ranking as the number 1 pair in all of college tennis. The 2020 ITA All-American tandem improved in the double ranks, all the way from number 7 right to the top. Reynolds and Sandcolin have won 8 of 10 matches this season and are 2-1 versus nationally ranked opponents. They'll be back in action as Ole Miss hosts rival Mississippi State at home this Sunday at 1. In accordance with the state's recent executive orders, Ole Miss Athletics has officially announced their updated attendance plans for soccer and track. Fans are required to wear a face covering upon entry to the facility, but may remove them when at their seat. Priority admission will be offered to a select group of supporters through Ole Miss Kicker Club. Once those RSVPs are secured, all remaining spots will be offered to the general public on a first-come, first-served basis at the gate. The changes are effective this weekend as hosts Georgia Southern Saturday, and the Ole Miss Classic begins tomorrow on the track. It was an exciting day for the Ole Miss football team as a host of NFL executive and scouts watched the annual Pro Day at the Manning Center. Elijah Moore, Kenny Yeboah, Royce Newman, Luke Logan, and Jack Probst all went through drills and workouts with the hope of catching the eye of NFL scouts. Former Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly also came to throw passes to former Rebels DeMarcus Lodge and DeMaria Stringfellow, all hoping to get back on NFL rosters. And be on the lookout on our social media and YouTube for a sit-down interview with Ole Miss offensive lineman turned NFL draft prospect Royce Newman tomorrow morning from the Newswatch studio. That's all I've got for sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @rebel_watch for the latest on Ole Miss athletics. Kennedy, back to you.
Oxford's response to the COVID-19 pandemic has landed the town in a competition against other strong cities in the nation. More on that when we return.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Oxford's first round of the 6th annual Strongest Town contest, now competing in the second bracket against the Yellow Springs, Ohio. Voting ends tonight, and the winner will advance into the semifinals. Strong Towns is a non-profit media advocacy organization. You can vote online at strongtowns.org. That's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to Newswatch Ole Miss. You can catch our show live on Facebook, YouTube, and our website. The show is also now available on IGTV. Make sure to also follow our social media pages for updates. I'm Kennedy Cooper. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.